So it says you are live on Facebook. I mean, live on YouTube.
Great. Chrissy. Alrighty, so I guess we'll open up the meeting at 6:02. First, to start with the adoption of the agenda. So the committee approved the agenda of June 23rd, 2021 as circulated. Do I have a mover? Melissa? And a seconder?
Is one of those rats yours?
No. Okay.
Seconder?
Also,
Okay, and carried. Okay, and the adoption of the minutes from May 26, 2021 as circulated. That the committee approved the minutes of May 26, 2020 as circulated. Do I have a mover? Melissa, or sorry, Melissa, and a seconder, Val?
yep.
Okay. Alrighty. So next would be disclosure of interest. Maggie, did you have anything specifically slotted for that, my dear, tonight? No? Does anybody else have anything that they want to bring from? No? All right. So business from previous meeting. Update on the Canada flag event. Maggie, that was your event, so I'm going to let you take it away.
3 words. We did
Hey.
it. We have passed out 1,580 flags to every home, I hope, in Montague. I had a few extras, so I took a couple down to the township, put them there. I took a couple to the Forget Me Not Club, put them there. And I'm saving a bunch to put at Rosedale on Canada Day. And there's been a couple emails and stuff. I didn't get one. So I'm running around just filling in those little spots that they're missing them out of their mailbox, or they were missed, whatever. But I think it went really, really well. I think afterwards we could probably have a little meeting about what didn't go well, that type of thing. But all in all, it was excellent. I'm seeing flags everywhere when I drive around Montague. They are on mailboxes, they're on the blue boxes, they're stuck in flower pots, they're in trees, they're everywhere. So it's excellent. And I'm seeing more and more pictures put on the township page and the Montague Talks page. So I'm really happy with how it went. And I'm really appreciative to everybody here, to council, to staff, and especially the volunteers that drove around endlessly on these roads and walked all around Adirondack and passed out all these flags. I just want to thank everybody for their help. It was truly a group thing that came together, and God knows what we're doing next year.
We've really set that bar really, really, really high.
Well, hopefully next year we'll be planning a Canada Day celebration at Rosedale Hall.
Which would be lovely. Let's
Which
hope
would be excellent.
that. Let's hope, eh? I did do a post on the Montague Talks page just to make sure to spread the word to the people that we really want the pictures to be done on both websites. I talked to Christy there, and we really want to make sure that they know to post on the township page over and above the Montague Talks page with the hashtag Montague Canada Day 2021, just so that way Lanark County, like, everyone knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it really shows us what our committee has done just to start without things being open. So it makes them set their bar as well. So hopefully we'll spread more and everybody will be doing the same thing. Jeff, and then Maggie.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to take away from Maggie, but a couple of things exactly on that point, Brandy, is I had a chat with Shannon Reed, because she's one of the, I think, is it you and herself that are the admins for Montague Talks?
Pretty much.
Okay. I know I talked to her because she was going to look into saying, because I was wondering about that with the pictures too as well. And it's great that it's being on Montague Talks, but obviously we all know the issue with Montague Talks is that it's closed. But we want to get it to the Montague Facebook page is open and everybody can see it, which really gets the word out and kind of the neatness about it. I know she's looking at seeing if there's a way to share the pictures that are posted on Montague Talks, but because it's a closed page with our Montague. So I know she's looking at that too as well. And it'd be good. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're posting that, saying like making sure that we're getting it on the township page, because that gets it out to sort of everybody, which I think is a big part of it. And I know she acknowledged that too as well. And she's looking into that as far as that can be done. If anybody has sort of like because she's great trying to do what she can to help, but she'll even openly admit that like she may not know how to, but if someone knows how to, or if there's a way around that to make sure that we're just, because we don't want to share everything, because I know it's a closed thing, but if we can share just that, that would be amazing. So if we can do that, that would be super.
Okay, so Maggie and then Crystal. Maggie?
If we use the hashtag, does it go to the township page?
No, because I think the problem is because it's the township page is a closed page. If it was open, I know you don't want to open it, but if it's a closed page and it's posted there, then it doesn't go anywhere else.
Yeah, I can
with the
copy and paste them and transfer them over. If just maybe do like a whole album maybe.
Yeah, and once again, like I'm open for, maybe Crystal has her hand up, maybe she
Yeah,
because I don't know.
I was just gonna say, and I don't remember if I brought this up before or not, but I think the committee should have its own Facebook page. So everyone who's in the closed Montague Township Talks group could follow our page, just like they follow the official township page as well. And then we can control what we're putting out there. And it wouldn't be closed. Like the Township Talks group is a private group. And the thing about a private group too is that Shannon and Brandy could decide at any point they don't want to operate that page anymore. And then where are we? So
it's been passed.
I think it's worth talking about. Yeah.
So it's like I took it over when somebody else became part of council. And so if something happens, I will definitely be passing it on, just like Shannon.
Yeah.
Melissa?
I think, sorry. I just wanted to say, sorry, Melissa, I just want to say there's also some toxicity on that page that maybe we don't always want to be associated with as part of the committee. Sorry, Melissa.
I was also going to say we really need to branch out to Twitter and Instagram as well, because more and more people, especially like around my age group, are getting rid of Facebook and going to Instagram. And things like hashtags are a lot easier to follow on Instagram and to like just click on and see everything. So that also kind of goes into that avenue of, because I don't think the Montague Township has an Instagram page, do they?
No.
Or Twitter. I don't think they have either.
Not yet.
When I first moved here, I started following the hashtag Smiths Falls on Instagram. And that's how I became familiar with most things that I know about, was just from that hashtag.
Yeah.
And those are great points. I know when we like for myself, when I started on council, same time with Karen, I would love to. Sorry, I'm also reading something else there, but I think we started with Facebook because it was like that was our dive into the social media world. We had discussed some of the other ones too as well, but we there was sort of, I guess it was held back. But I'm hearing this from loud and clear, and it kind of motivates me to bring it back up again to add to our social media platforms, because I think that's exactly it. I would like to see that too as well. So if that's sort of a feeling from this group too as well, that's another sort of talking point that we can bring up with the township too as well to add to that, because I would love to. I was hoping that we would have Instagram, Twitter, because Twitter's obviously there's different generational gaps there too as well. And then Facebook, and there is programs that you can put out like one message to all of them. So I appreciate that feedback, because I'd gladly bring that back to council to see how we can expand that too as well. So
Melissa?
Yeah, as soon as you have Instagram, you can post to Twitter and Facebook right from Instagram. So all of your posts you just like check a box when you're posting them, your posts, your stories, everything. So are we thinking that we want to be within the township's page, or are we thinking that the recreation committee should have something separate? Because if it's the recreation should have something separate, I have no problem setting it up. It would take me like 5 minutes to set up all three platforms.
I think separate.
Yeah, I think separate would be good too. I have kind of started one that, because I didn't know where to go. So now that we've brought up this topic, I started it just so that Maggie and I could kind of tinker a little, and I haven't had time to get back to it. It's still set as private, and I haven't done the full recreation name on the top. So with that discussion, we're going to need to have a consistent decision on whether you know, again, once things are posted on there, it's out there. That's the thing with the public, like with the not being public on the Montague Talks, we have to watch some of the stuff that we post. So if we're going to do that, we have to make sure that it's, you know, we're mindful of what's posted as well. Jeff?
And once again, like, I'm not a social media expert by any means. Is there, because I hear the reasoning behind a separate one, but does it add more confusion? Is there a way to do like subcategories from ours for committees through those social media platforms? Is that a possibility?
I have to look at it more, or talk to a few people maybe that are more tech savvy. Just I know with my jewelry business, I've had to learn a lot of new whatever. So I can question them because they're really Facebook savvy, and see if there is something there in the talk page that we could do that, unless anybody else knows anything.
I'm looking it up right now.
Too many spots, and sometimes it'd be confusing too as well. Like if we have like, you know, like, do I check the recreation Facebook page or the township Facebook page to, and if the messages a lot of the times I would think would try to be the same, is there an advantage to having a secondary one? Because we want to streamline information as best as possible to get it out to people. It would be my only worry about it, but I'm open for it. But I just wonder, we want to streamline it as best as possible.
Maggie?
I don't see the point of having 2 and 3 and 4 Facebook pages. I find that in the Smith Falls bunch, they've got like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they're always going back and forth between different ones. I'm much more interested in the Instagram thing. If we could do that, do we need permission to do that, or?
Well,
Yeah.
we would want to link it with the town, like with the township.
Yeah.
But if the committee is open for that and suggesting that, I'd be happy to bring it back to council to say, you know, it's another one of those avenues where like we're noticing information gaps, and this could be our next step to help with our communication side of things too as well, to get that stuff out there. So if the committee's open for that, I mean, I can bring that back to council and have it sort of discussed too as well.
Do we need a resolution?
Well, I'm thinking maybe if we could take a vote, and I don't know if Chrissy or Maggie can print off a sheet and I can sign it on Thursday, as long as we have everybody, I think, on agreement vote wise for Jeff to take it back.
I got a question.
Jim?
I just had a question. It may be kind of a dumb question to you people, but
Never know.
when you're talking Instagram and talking different items to O here, is this something where the average person just clicks on, like you were talking, right off the website for Montague? Is it just something a person like me that's not really into computers would just go to the website, then go to Instagram, or is this something that could be shown to some people maybe that don't know that much about it? Or
I think we're all going to need courses.
well, I was just wondering, is this something we can do later for the ones like myself that don't know an awful lot?
Yeah.
I mean, I know how to do Facebook and I know how to do a few of those things, but not when you start talking Twitter and all this other stuff the young kids are doing now. Us old guys, I've never used too much of that kind of thing.
I'm the same as you,
That's
Jim. I'm not savvy. I had to learn too, and I think we're all going to need a course by the time we're done. Crystal?
Yeah, I was, just to answer Jim's question, I was just going to say we could actually use the Township Talks group to promote the other streams. So Instagram, Twitter, and I think, as Melissa said, it's very simple to set things up, but we do also have to have a plan sort of how information is going to be presented, and one way to look at that is you kind of make a calendar of the posts that you want to be making in relation to what's going on generally in the community, but also specific to the Recreation Committee. So yeah, we don't want to leave anybody behind with doing that. One thing also is that there's a difference between a Facebook profile page, a Facebook group, and a Facebook just page. So there's 3 different kinds of things. And so with the private group, anyone's allowed to make postings on that too. So we wouldn't want to have that same setup on our page. People could comment, but they wouldn't be making posts of their own.
I agree with Jeff. I think that we definitely need to link it. Not that I don't want Montague Talks. We just we're really trying to make sure that people are using the township page as well, because that's where we're not having the privacy issues. Like the whole problem is like we're having privacy issues on the Montague Talks page because of the it's not deemed public. Whereas the township page is. So if we could link off the township page, that would be better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everybody's...
Yeah, and another note about the township page, we can let people know also that if you favorite the township page, you see all of their posts in your feed. So otherwise it's just kind of random. You see some things and not others. But if you make them a favorite, which you can see, I think if you just see the 3 little dots and click that make favorite, then everything they post comes to the top of your feed.
Yeah. Maggie, you also had your hand up, hon?
Yeah, I think with Instagram, when you post something to Instagram, the message goes to everybody who's following you. Unlike Facebook, where you have to go to the computer, turn on Facebook, go to Montague Township, the Township Talks page. On phones and on iPads, it bings you right away that something's been posted. Oh, Melissa's shaking her head no. But if you follow them,
it's kind of the same thing as like Facebook, where you would you can make things so that they with Twitter and more so with Twitter, you can set it up. So for example, I have Lanark Leeds and Grenville Health Unit that every time they post on their Twitter page, I have set it up so that I get a notification on my phone because I want my next dose of my vaccine. So I'm watching that. But you have to actually go through and choose that you want notifications for that specific thing. Otherwise, Instagram, Twitter, it's all that same social media platforms where you go in and you follow people or you friend, depending on the platform is what it's called, and they can follow you back. And then you would go and you have your feed where you see the people that you're following, and then you also will see different recommendations. So if I go on, for example, and follow a whole bunch of similar things, then it's going to give me, so I work in Manotick, so I follow a whole bunch of Manotick stuff. So I get lots of recommendations for different Manotick businesses, even though I'm not necessarily following them. I'll get recommendations to go follow them. So it's very similar to Facebook, where it looks at what you're looking at, makes your recommendations, but it is a newsfeed unless you go in and specifically say, I want notifications for whenever this person posts. And each platform is a little bit different on whether you can get a notification right to your phone for posts, or if you can get an email or what.
Sounds even more complicated.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is it's nice. We have our admin assistant at the office, and she's great, and she's kind of managing our Facebook page. She has let me know that obviously Instagram would be something that she'd be game for doing too as well. So as far as the ability goes, so and we really want that one person as the go-to for the sending out the messages. We can give this is what we need posted for that kind of stuff. and she can really message that out for us too as well. Like she is our liaison who will definitely post stuff that we need to have posted. So.
Sounds
Who's that, Jeff?
That's all.
Sorry? What?
They'll have to be teaching us all too. Well, she'll have to be one of the ones for the course thing in the hall.
She could be.
Jeff, who is that you're talking about?
Christy.
Oh, Christy, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
She's great. So I'd say,
Yeah, yeah.
Or should we do a resolution that we want to look into getting on, or is that us or is it the township really?
Yeah, do we forward that to you guys, or do we make a resolution now, Jeff? Or Karen?
To talk about, to bring that up at the next meeting.
Yeah, like I know we at the end forward everything by direction of the meeting, but do we need to make a full vote and a resolution for this?
We could do and once again, like if you want to do a resolution saying like the Recreation Committee recommends that we look into adding more like those social media platforms, as a better avenue of getting the word out there. If we do a resolution like that, I could probably take that with me to the meeting and then see what, and kind of go from there.
Okay.
So if you guys want to do that, that would be, then I'll take that with me.
Okay, so I'll have Maggie print one over to me and I'll sign it tonight. So if we can do a firster and a seconder, I guess, and then a vote. So so Crystal's gonna first it and then Melissa second it. Sound good?
Yep.
So you got that, Maggie?
Yep.
And if we can take a vote then, if everybody's for the yes, for more technology and Instagram.
That we don't understand?
Yeah. Hand over here.
So
There it is.
and the nays, any nays?
Obviously, yeah.
Any nays? Okay, no nays. So that's good. So I will sign that tonight then and forward that with my other paperwork, which actually I have to take hopefully tomorrow to the township. So right on. All right. So I guess now from there we can move to, was there anything else from the Canada Day that anybody else had to address, Jeff?
I'm going to bring this up because sorry, I'm going to bring this up, and the reason why I was a little bit late today because I was in a conversation with somebody just before I came on, because we all know with Canada Day, obviously we're super proud of what we're doing in this township, and I think it's fantastic. But I think we also want to make sure that we're just acknowledging sort of the Indigenous community, what's happening, and sort of what's happening around some of the Canada Day sort of talks and celebrations. Just so people know, I did reach out to a member of our community who's also a part of the Indigenous community, just to kind of get an idea. And I said, I want to make sure that we're not being we're missing the boat or anything like that, and we want to make sure that we're bringing that into it and that we're open for that conversation. And I did say she did mention that she would reach out to one of the chiefs so I could have a conversation with them too as well. To be open with that, to make sure that we're just open, and then we want to make sure that we're not tone deaf and we're hearing and we're part of that. So if everybody's comfortable with that, it was one of those things that's kind of come up, and I wanted to reach out and I was going to also mention if we wanted to invite anybody from the Algonquin community too as well to our the flag raising too as well in that sense. But really more, I just wanted to have that. I want to let everybody know to have that, make sure that we're having that conversation, that it's open, and that we're not unaware of that conversation. And if everybody's comfortable with that, and I'm looking for sort of that next talk with the chief too as well. I want to make sure that like we're being respectful in this whole process too as well. So if everybody's comfortable with that, everybody's fine with that as far as that goes. I was more just kind of talking as a community member, maybe outside of being a council member. I just want to make sure that we're cognizant of it. That's
I love the fact that you did that, Jeff, because
Yeah.
I think it's so important, and probably most of everybody here would be in agreement.
Yeah.
It's something that I think touches many lives, obviously, and it kind of, you know, affects our history and everything, and it touches the heart, because back then, just when you think of, like, you know, I know the life wasn't easy back then and everything else, but I mean, when you think of what happened and that they had no control over it, it really breaks your heart, and you feel for the parents. I would love to see the chief. If we could have a chief join, I don't know if everybody else is in agreement, but I would love to see a chief when we go to raise the flag, because again, it shows that, you know, we're present, we're hearing, you know, and if there's people in the community that want to be a part of it, I think that they should be too. It'd be really nice to, you know, have maybe a ceremony even. I don't know if anybody else would be agree for that, but I think that their culture and their stuff is beautiful. Jeff, you had your hand up, and then Val.
Yeah, and I just got notice too as well that I think part of when we're raising the flag too as well. I know this is now leading into our next thing, but it's only going to be raised to halfway up too as well. So I mean, to show that extra respect too as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of it
Yeah.
and we want to obviously talk about it in our open meeting too as well, that we have that respect and that we do want to reach out, and that we're open for any conversation that can have too as well. So thanks guys. Thanks.
And if anybody wants an orange shirt, I have a girlfriend that's selling through Silver Icing, well, actually cousin. There are some really gorgeous orange shirts done, and part of the proceeds, I believe, go to back to them, so, which is really wonderful if anybody wants to contact me on that one. Val, you had your hand up.
Yes, my only comment is I applaud Jeff for his reaching out to the Indigenous community. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful idea. And I think we should do it. And let's fingers crossed that we get the numbers up, because without the numbers being increased for us, we probably wouldn't be able to. Or if somebody has a suggestion, that was my first idea, because Bill and I have talked about, we have to keep the numbers at 10. So if anybody has any suggestions, please put forward.
Maggie and then Melissa.
We have to keep the numbers at 10, but that's right there. There's no saying that 10 of us can't go over to the Forget Me Not Club. 10 of us can't go over to the other side of the.
Okay.
It's 10 in that area.
Okay.
And I forget the feet apart. I think it's 12, but don't quote me on that. We can have more people there. We just can't have more people right at the flagpole.
Okay. That's perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Melissa?
One thing I was gonna say is, because I still see lots of shoes like outside people's doors or like on their steps or whatever. So one thing we could encourage is when people are submitting pictures of their Canada flags, is that they can also submit pictures to share of their, like, however they've chosen to commemorate that, or pictures of them in orange shirts, and share that as well as the Canada Day stuff.
Good
That's a good
idea,
idea.
Melissa. I have to commend you on that one. I love it. Crystal?
I wanted to ask if we could do a land acknowledgement at the Canada Day ceremony, and also if we could start doing that at the beginning of council meetings as well.
Okay. Jeff?
So great question, Crystal. And I think that's 100%. And that was something that we can definitely talk about, and we'll talk with Reeve Dobson about it, making sure that we do the land acknowledgement for sure. And that Melissa, what you said there basically it reminded me of part of the conversation I had right before I came on. And the person told me, like, exactly what you're saying. It's like what your Canada is, and it might be showcasing the shoes, it might be showcasing just the camping, just to be respectful in that sense. So I think that's exactly right up the right lines. And I think the land acknowledgement, obviously during the flag raising, is a very important point. And I think your other point is a very valid point, and I think that could be brought up too as well. I think with our council too as well. It's a very good point.
I mean, as Canadians, when the hockey accident, like that bus happened, and all the hockey kids lost their lives. I mean, as a nation, Canada, we all felt it, and this is the same. So yeah, I think I love Melissa's idea. I don't want to get emotional, but I love Melissa's idea with the shoes. I think it's great. And again, it just it really shows that though we're not together, we're all thinking of everyone out there. That's awesome, Maggie.
Maybe then for the ones of us that are going to attend the Canada Day, we could all wear orange shirts. Instead of wearing, I was going to wear my rec shirt, my unofficial rec shirt. But maybe we could wear orange shirts. You look so glad. Maybe we could wear orange shirts that day.
I like that. Does anybody, Jeff?
I love the idea. I was going to say, maybe when I ask, if I have that conversation, I can ask that if that would be appropriate, if that would be okay with the community if we did that. So we're not, but I think that's a great ask for us to do.
Yeah.
If that's okay, I think, and I'm open for asking that if I have that conversation. So
we'll definitely have to send all that direction for you to take to council. Valerie?
Yeah, Jeff, are you asking council if that would be appropriate? I just want to get my words right.
no, the Indigenous community.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, council. I don't think anybody in council is going to tell you what to wear.
Okay. Well, you never know.
But we want to be
Tell us what to
respectful.
not wear.
We want to be respectful for
Okay.
if we're doing it there. I just want to make sure, like, I'm game for doing anything like that, but it's just being that respectful for asking first. So I think it'd be great.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely covering all our bases.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so moving from the Canada flag now, then anybody have anything to add? No? Okay. So next on the list would be update on the Rosedale Hall flag, which I think we kind of sort of covered, but did anybody have anything to add to that, or? No? Okay. Update on the Rosedale Hall mural. Does anybody have? Jeff?
I'll say it quick because I know it was thrown at council to say, like, are we okay with it? I brought it up at our last council meeting, or the one before that. We've had so many lately. And there was no objection from anybody from council. There was one note Reed Dobson brought up saying, it's a historical building, so we want to make sure that we're respectful for it. So maybe using it's stucco, so it might be hard to like paint on anyway. So if we did do attaching boards or anything like that, but council was very open with doing something along those lines, just being mindful of the respectful of the historic building, and that's really about it. So opened up, and let's make it pretty.
Crystal?
So I just wanted to say, from the minutes from the council, so they gave direction to the MRCC to review mural options to bring back information to council.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's awesome. I guess from here we just have to find some photos, or where do we go from here? Is there something we can look up and research, read Montague, or do we take it out of the book, the history book that Montague has? Maggie?
Klaus mentioned at the meeting that he knew two artists, and I'm sorry, I don't remember their names. But maybe we could do something like ask people for ideas for submissions, and then pick the ones that we like and then send them to council for final approval. We have to know more about the area, the size of the area that we're actually going to do. If we could just maybe take a tape measure out there and figure, okay, it's going to be 8 feet that way, 6 feet that way, and let people give us ideas as to what they think we should put on that building. There are some grants available from the Canadian Council for the Arts, and also from Ontario Arts Council but they're only given when you have a final idea or a final artist. And then the grants differ from $2,000 to $20,000, and they are for murals, for community murals. But I think going to them is jumping the gun before we figure out what we're going to do and what size we're going to do. Somebody also mentioned maybe art students putting it out to the public. I don't know how many there are in Montague or even Smith Falls, Perth area. But I think we should go to the public for ideas on it too. And it doesn't have to be historical all over the place.
Yeah.
It is beside a children's playground. So it could be a fun mural just as well.
I'm not sure who had their hand up first, Melissa or Crystal.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Crystal can go first.
So I was just going to say, so a really good resource, I think, I don't know if I mentioned it at the previous meeting. I've just got it up on my tabs here. It was the Mural Production Resource Book by the Mural Roots organization. And it's sort of a step-by-step. So you want to have a mural, and then it's like, okay, you have to, get support and get funding, and here's a plan, and here's. So I think if we kind of like go through that, I could even go through it and just make sort of a summary of like what are the things we have to consider, in stages, and that would help sort of focus things. And then the other thing, on the theme of it, I mean, we can open it up to different themes. Nature was one that I was really thinking would fit nicely with the playground part of it. So if it was something like plants and animals, turtles, whatever, something like that. But as we said before, so there's nature, there's history. There were some other ideas, but again, I think it's going to be up to the community's input. And I think this is actually where we might find that the other social media platforms will be really helpful to us in engaging the community in submitting their ideas, voting on their favorite ideas, following along the progress of the project. So I think it could be really interesting to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. Melissa?
I was going to say, could we have like the artists submit a kind of like a mini proposal as to what they would like to draw on it, and then the rec committee could pick so many and then have some sort of like a competition online or whatever. But have it so that we're not telling them, we're just saying, okay, this is going to be your workspace, this is the size, this is the location. They can go down to the hall, they can look at it and say, okay, this is what I think would look really good there. And like we could give them the historical resources, like access to the historical resources if that's the avenue that they want to go, but really leave that up to the artists, see what the submissions are that come in, and then we can engage the community once we narrow it down to a few different ones.
Yeah, and that's one of the approaches in the resource guide as well.
Do you have anything to add? So that's great. I think that's awesome. The fact that, we're getting, that it's a possibility to do it. From there, I guess we'll have to put it out to the Montague Talks page temporarily until we have other channels. Not sure how to word that up. Crystal, if you want to maybe trying to think with what you have there with the list, if there's something that maybe they have suggested to put out.
Yeah, I can look through that and
we can post it. Valerie?
Could we also maybe consider posting it on the Montague Township page as well as the Montague Talks?
Yes.
Because not everybody subscribes to the Montague Talks.
Yeah.
And we might even consider a newspaper article for a local media, idea, story,
If we were to, just a sorry, Maggie, not to cut you off, I just, something hit me. So if we were to do the Canada Day flag raising, if we could have it, I know there's that, I'm trying to think of her name, but she does a lot of the stuff for Smith Falls and whatnot. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Anyway, she goes around with new businesses opening or this and that, and she comes and she does like a live feed. And I wasn't sure that when we go to do that, if we could maybe also like, get some like pointed out that when we're doing it, we're going to be doing a mural, just because again, it goes out to the public. Smith Falls art students, from the high school, might see it, parents might see it. I don't know, it'd just be kind of nice to have it televised over and above for the ones that cannot join. And then it would kind of, you put, we're thinking of doing a mural, please, submit your ideas or a portrait or tendering. That I'm trying to remember her name. I'll have to find it. Karen?
Are you talking about Kathy Gotham?
No, she's a blonde. I'm trying to think of her name.
Oh, I know who you mean.
I'm so bad with names. I hate that.
I know who you
And then
mean.
if you do an article up and submit it to Metroland, I believe they will publish it for you as well.
Okay. Maggie?
I'm gonna ask Crystal if she could send us that link that she's looking at.
Oh, sure, yeah.
On email?
Send an email out so we can all have a look at it and see the steps.
That would be awesome.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I think from there, update on the Rosedale Hall programs and activities.
I'm thinking that with stage 2 opening soon, stage 3, I think we can start looking at doing something at the hall in the fall. I'm thinking October, that area. Melissa did a great sheet, which is so easy to follow. And I think we should start thinking about planning something to have at the hall one night a month, maybe 2 nights a month, and put in a priority of what we want to do, whether we want it to have be yoga or painting or whatever, as well as the information ones like the fire chief, the police, etc. The septic's going to be done so we can use the hall. I don't know about the crowd, how many people we're going to be able to have, but I think we should really try and get using that hall in the fall. Maybe make a list of your top 3 or 4, what you think would go over well. Remember, we don't have internet, so don't pick anything that needs any kind of PowerPoint or anything else. But I think, Crystal, do you have something to do with that yoga bunch in the park?
I've just attended it. It's some of the, I go to Pilates in Smith Falls, and my physiotherapist does Pilates, and she was part of the organization. So yeah, but there's a lot of, it's a large committee. They actually did a yoga fest 2 years ago in Smith Falls. So they weren't able to do
I
it
know
last
when we
year or this year.
started doing this, when we first started talking, yoga came up a lot.
Yeah.
Yoga for beginners, please, not like.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the most popular at the time. So any kind of exercise even for seniors, something like that. But I think we should start thinking about what we're going to do with that hall and how we're going to do it, because we've put an awful lot of money into the hall, etc. And I think things with opening up, like I say, if we can start planning things for October, November, I think we should start thinking a bit more seriously about what we're going to be doing.
I agree with Maggie, because time, I think, is going to start going quickly. You know how the summer always flies fast when you're having fun. So I agree with Maggie. I think the sooner we set up events and plan things, the better. Val, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so Maggie, do you want us to put out on email some of the favorite things that we might want to consider for the fall? Like your idea was to have a market, not necessarily a farmer's vegetable market, but a market with people that, that produce honey, that produce maple syrup, that produce whatever. Is that feasible in the fall? We could do that.
I'm actually talking more about the programs that we spoke of.
Inside. Okay, all right.
I think we talked about the second and fourth Thursday, or the first and third Thursday.
Okay.
One of them would be an informational night and one of them would be more of an entertainment, exercise night.
Okay, thanks.
Melissa?
Jessica had her hand up first.
Oh, sorry, Jessica, sorry.
I was just wondering if maybe we can do some sort of subcommittee to help organize that.
Mhm.
That'd be a good idea.
Right. I have no
Who
problem
wants-
chairing it or being on it or whatever.
So I guess we should start that now then and get like at least a couple of numbers going or a couple of people on it so that we're ready. We don't want to be behind the 8 ball when it's hit. So for volunteer wise, I guess that would be the first thing to start. So for volunteering re-haul activities, if you want to put your hand up, if you want to be immediately involved. So Jessica so far, Crystal, Melissa, anyone else? And of course, obviously, if Katie, or Bonnie or anybody that isn't here tonight, if they do want to, if they could put in an email or whatnot, that'll start it. And
Katie will probably want to be involved or can be guilted into it because of her involvement with Crow. I think she would be a good one to have on there.
yeah, because it bridges that gap too. So we'll definitely have to ask her for that. Crystal?
One thing to keep in mind for programming is that as the committee, we don't necessarily have to program all the activities ourselves. We could actually just let the community know the space is available. This is what's there to be used. If there was someone who did want to offer a yoga program for 6 weeks or something, they could express their interest. They could do their registration. We just have to make sure that, the hall is free for them on the nights that they want to use it. Someone lets them in, whatever. So to kind of take some of the load off of the committee, to just let the community know that the hall is there for their use for those purposes as well.
Karen?
I think we'll have to check too with reference to the rental fees, et cetera, and how we would go around handling that.
Yeah, as well as the fire department, because they'll be using it as well over and above for certain nights going forward, probably for their, I don't know what they got going on coming forward, but I know that they do the odd night where they have their meetings, training sessions, and certain things too that they'll be doing. So we'll have to be mindful and always check to make sure it's not pre-booked. Anybody have anything else to add to that? Well, we have the schedule in the office, so that was from the township. So yeah, definitely always check with the office and make sure that if you do have an event, check before setting a date that it's available. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. Relocation of the little library to the Rosedale Hall. Did anybody have any info on that one?
Yeah, we spoke about this. Well, it was a while ago because Jasmine was the one that we were speaking to about it. We wanted to get a little library at the playground beside the hall, and there is a company that'll do that. But Jasmine mentioned that the Smith Falls Library already had a little library, but it was inside the office. And we were going to find out about relocating that to outside. And I'm just wanting to follow up on that.
Okay, Jeff?
We can't, because I think we even kind of said we wanted to be moved out there. And I did mention that to staff, saying this was discussed before, but we had a switch over. But this was discussed before about moving it out there. And I'll follow up with staff again because we're looking to see if the summer students can maybe put that out there for us and move it out there. But the big one is, because it's funny because I was actually talking to Sarah Lynn Martin, who's our rep on the library for Montague, about that too as well, because she brought that up to me, and the reason why I phoned and I asked about it, because she brought it up to me when I was talking to her at the school on Monday, and she's like, she says like, what are we going to move it out there? I'm like, you know what, that's a good point. Maybe we drop the ball there a little bit, and we're looking to see how it can get moved out there. What she did bring up to me though is is we need to have somebody or a few different people, or how that works, every couple weeks go and try to take all the books out of there, bring it back to the library and get a fresh set of books. And we can put, so there's a bit of a cycle there. So it's obviously not stale. So it looks like we can get it moved out there. I can confirm that. But then the next step is just getting it refreshed every couple of weeks, or having somebody that's willing to go out there every couple, 3 weeks and do a switcheroo.
Refresh. So do you think it would, sorry, Jessica, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just thinking, my one concern about that would be, I know the lady who lives in the house behind the hall, and she has mentioned some younger people doing some not so great things back there. So I'd be worried about vandalism or theft or anything like that.
That's sad. I hope with our play structure there, yeah, that it's, you know, there isn't going to be any damage done. Maggie?
The little library that I was speaking of, it wasn't library books, it was take a book, leave a book.
Oh, like one of those.
Yeah.
Like if they all disappear, then you just put some more in. There's somebody just down by the hall there that's been having a table full of books, and he offered to put some in there. I have boxes of books, but it's more of a take a book, leave a book, not library books I don't want to see disappear or be torn up and thrown all over the playground.
So more like the donated kind, like where it's already there, and then basically the neighborhood kind of changes it up as they leave and take. Kind of.
And some of them can even, like, sometimes there's even magazines. So when your kids are playing on the playground structures and you're sitting at the picnic table, you just go over and grab a book and look through it, or a magazine, whatever, or a Sudoku book or whatever. But I'd be leery about putting library books out there.
When it's outside.
Yeah. And when there's nobody around, there's no lock on it, there's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's done on the honor system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff?
I was gonna say, I mean, because that's the library is the program behind that, but I mean, we could ask to see how we could deviate from that, especially if we have a bunch of other books that we could just that we have available to put in there. I mean,
mix and match them maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know if we're sold entirely on that, but that's like a question. Once again, I don't mind asking Sarah Lynn to say, like, do we have to stick to that? And can we use community books? I don't see why we couldn't use community books in there as well. So I'll ask her that to see what the basis behind the program in that with the library. Maybe the library would be happy with us not using library books.
Yeah.
Especially with them being donated.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a lot of community books out there, why not? I mean,
yeah, piece of them out of the garbage and stuff. Did anybody else have anything out on that one? No?
No, we'll wait for Jeff to come back with how they feel about it.
From Sarah and see what she recommends.
Yeah.
Okay. So new business, discussion on seniors community grant. Did anybody have that printed information?
Val sent that out in an email a couple weeks ago. And it's the 2021-2022 seniors grant. That they give you a grant between $1,000 and $25,000 it's to enable aging, safety and security, remaining healthy and active, and participating in the labor market and community. I looked it over and I don't know what to do with this. And I don't think that we can do anything with it. I think this is for the staff to look into. So maybe we can do a resolution if they would have a look and see. I don't know what this Transfer Payment Ontario is. I did look it up on the computer, but you have to be you have to apply for it. And I don't think we have the right to apply for it. I think that's something the township is going to have to do. It was formerly just called Grant Canada or Grants Ontario. But the applications have to be in by July 15th, 2021, which is basically 2.5 weeks.
Val, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, just to expand on Maggie's thoughts, the email went to Joanna, and she emailed me back and said that she was going to give it to the staff to have a look at. And I emailed her back and thanked her and said, okay, just a reminder that the application has to be in by whatever, 15th of July or something. So the ball is in Joanna's court right now, but I would like to, if everyone is okay with it, just remind Joanna that we've discussed it tonight, and maybe she can ask the staff where they're at. Is there any hope, sort of thing? So if that's okay with everybody.
So Christy, if maybe you could talk to Joanna at some point, I don't know if you're hearing me at the office there, and just see where we're at from Joanna.
Resolution.
Thank you so much. Yes, Crystal.
I was just going to say, so with that tight timeline, I don't think it's realistic to think that we could have a strong enough application submitted. And I think if you look at the range of the grant available, if we tried it for next year, we could probably get a much larger grant than if we tried to scramble. And we would, at that point, we'd have almost a year of programming the hall behind us. We'd have a better sense of what it is that people are looking for. Maybe look at doing some intergenerational programming, might be able to get more funding for that kind of thing. So I think it's tempting to, when something comes along that looks that good, to try to scramble and get it right away. But I think if it was deferred till next year, I think we'd be more likely to be successful.
I like your idea too, just the fact of we'll know by then, after a year, of what we've seen more people wanting, what's been or happening, who's reached out the most during certain things that we've put on and whatnot. So and I mean, the fact that if we could get a larger grant and make it even bigger and better, we can use the time wisely. Maggie, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say, it is a seniors community grant, though. It's strictly for seniors programs.
Yeah, exactly.
So would we be stepping, Maggie, at that point, would we be stepping on the forget-me-nots shoes? Because we definitely don't want to do that. We want to bring them, to use our hall as well and to be a part of the hall, but I don't want to step on their shoes by all means.
No.
So there was Jim, then Crystal, then Val.
I was just going to say, as far as grants go, I think the proper way is to wait till next year, but you want to remember that the grants aren't there every year.
Yeah.
And sometimes the values will change. So really, anytime you can get anything from any grant, it always pays to get it. That's all. And I think the seniors are do look into those grants that you're talking about. I can't say for sure, but I think they do.
Crystal?
I was just going to say, about 15, 20 years ago, I did some grant writing things for a few years. And one of the things that the grant giving organizations really look for is collaboration between different groups. So if you had the Recreation Committee and the Forget Me Not Club and some other group coming together and saying, we want to collaborate to present these programs for seniors, you're more likely to get approved for grants under those circumstances.
Which is good. So Val and then Karen. Val?
Actually, Crystal has said exactly what I was thinking. If we could work with the Forget-Me-Nots, because I think that's the whole goal here, is to get everybody on board. And it's not who's doing what, it's we have to work with this together and just expand both clubs, both groups. They might not have the space, but we do, or vice versa. So yeah, Crystal hit it bang on. So
Karen?
I'm trying to say somehow that I think we should apply for the money. To do sort of generic grant application for the seniors programming, like it says, to state that we're looking to restart our recreation culture committee. And the sort of the things that you're looking to offer for the seniors are like the yoga, say, for example, even the painting. You know how they do it on the canvas? Somebody comes out, everybody pays like to do
Yeah.
it for an evening.
Yeah.
So I know it's a tight turnaround, but I think if we as a group, and then if we got the application completed to send to the township to do the application on our behalf, that's got that much done for them. But put into it about, and we throw out every idea that we're thinking about what we want to do for programming. And then if we can give even a rough estimate, like, so for example, if painting were, I don't know, $30 or $35 a person, and we're estimating that we're going to have 30 people there, and we're going to offer all of these programs for free by getting the grant money to get us established, that might give you a start to get some funding and then move from there for next year.
Good.
Because there's different streams, like this is this one stream, but there could be another stream, but it's to get back out, getting stuff happening in the hall. And I know that we can try and get people to come in for yoga, but again, if there's going to be costs, if we could get the grant to say, we want to get it started by allowing the seniors in the community to be able to come out and participate. And even if the grant money is towards the fee, that the seniors only have to pay a nominal fee of like $5 a head versus the 35 type thing. I think that's something that would work on your grant application. So if you can throw together quickly all the things that you might want to offer for seniors throughout, say September till next August, because it's for a whole year, and all the different things that we could come up with. And, I think it would be worthwhile.
So should we try to take a time right now then, maybe just to shoot out some ideas to put on that list and try and get that maybe, straight away? I think I like Karen's idea. Why not, try to do it while we can, Maggie?
Yeah, I don't really want to defer it. We do have almost 3 weeks. But what about if we did a resolution to get staff to look into it? I can't see the application as to what's needed, because you have to go through this Transfer Payment Ontario. So I think staff would probably be more knowledgeable about how to work through these papers.
Melissa?
If we need the staff to get the criteria and everything for us, why don't we put together a little subcommittee that the staff will send that criteria to? Subcommittee will come up with the plan and then forward it back to the staff to submit, if that's the way we want to do it. Because unless we know what exactly it's looking for, it's really hard to come up with ideas for it. But if we create like a subcommittee of 2 or 3 people, that as soon as they get this is what the grant's for, then they can brainstorm the kind of ideas of what we could spend money on and what that would be, and then provide that to council. I think that if we're going to do this avenue, that might be the best route.
It is good.
If we don't have all the info.
It is good.
Yes, I don't know how specific the program has to be. Like they're saying safety and security. Well, can you just say that you're going to have somebody from dealing with Alzheimer's people, somebody dealing with the fire department about fireproofing your home, etc. Is that enough general, or does it have to be really specific to put in the grant, or to put in the application to get the grant? So you might not have to be that specific.
As long as we have a line saying like, this is the idea that we have, and see where it falls under. I like Melissa's idea too, with having a certain amount of people that definitely can rush on getting these ideas there and communicating back and forth with the office, because the sooner we get it, the better. Val, you had your hand up, hun.
Yeah, I was going to ask, maybe Crystal could guide us for the beginning of the putting it together, like, because she's had grant writing experience, and maybe we could sidestep a few spots, sort of thing. So if she could come up with some suggestions, and share with us, then I'm sure a lot of us would be on board for this. Sorry,
Yeah,
Crystal.
Yeah, I don't, it's been a long time. It's been like 15 years since I've done that. And I don't have the time at the moment to do that. But I also think we have to recognize the possibility that staff is just not available to do this in the time frame that we have. So we have Canada Day coming up. There's probably some vacation. I'm sure they've got other things that they're working on over the next 2 weeks. So just be prepared for the possibility that it's not feasible at this point. But if someone could do it, then
I
that's
think
fine.
if we can give Chrissy direction in the office with Joanne, that if they think it's possible, if we give them a list of the things that we'd like to try and get done or have there, if maybe they have the time to guide us through to get that done, that would be appreciated. I don't know if it's possible though, Kirsty, at the office. I know you guys are busy with everything else going on and it being tax month end soon. I guess from there, we'll just have to kind of give direction and see. I can't say for sure at this moment. So all we can do is put a list together, put 3 people maybe on it and put a list together and see what we can do. I don't want to say no though, like, because again, if we can get it started, as Karen said, if we can start now and try to get it so that, when we do apply for it next year, they already know that, we what we've started and what we're going forward with. Maggie, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just thinking, maybe we should just do a resolution asking council to ask staff to look into the possibility. And that way we're not saying we can't do it by the 15th. And if they can't, then we can't. And that gives us more time to figure out what we're going to do. But I hate to just not do anything.
Yeah, me too. Melissa?
Doing a resolution just delays doing anything about it till the next council meeting though. And I don't, I know you guys have a special meeting next week, but that would just delay it even more, which would.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's going to delay it till August because there's no meetings in July, right?
So I guess at this point, then all we can do is just vote as a committee, just saying that we'd like to try to put forward for the grant, but we're going to have to get a list going immediately. And all we can do is just have them forward what we have. I don't know if that'll work though.
In that case, maybe we should do the subcommittee to get more ideas in like what we want to do.
Okay, so do we have any volunteers that have extra time at this point to work on names and whatnot?
Yeah, Val.
Val, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have another? I don't want to leave Val on it alone. Do we have another one? Okay, Jessica. And do we want a third person, Maggie, just in case? That way, because 3 numbers. I mean, you can put me on there anyway, because I'll probably end up seeing the emails. If I have any ideas, I'll certainly put them forward. And Maggie, you and I pretty well talk and Val, so we'll be able to just keep, hopefully. And if anybody else has any ideas, just shoot through email so that we can add it.
And they might want to get a volunteer from the Forget Me Not Club.
Yeah,
put their input in it.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. So if there's anybody who's watching from the Forget Me Not Club, please, put your name in to give us some more ideas so that we can hopefully help get the seniors over to the hall. Okay, so with that, anybody have anything else to add before we?
Before we move on, can we go back to the little library? Because I was communicating with Sarah Lynn.
Yep.
So she said that the books can definitely be donated, and even the library will have some that they can put in there that are out of circulation. So essentially donated books. And because I had brought up that we're worried about them going missing if there are books in circulation. So she said that that's definitely not the problem, not a problem at all. The whole purpose of it is to cultivate reading for all. So it doesn't really matter how the books get there. And then she also mentioned to me that the library is hoping to do something every month at the hall. So I told Crystal and Jessica, I told her that we would be in communication with her about like getting something going up in the fall.
That's awesome. So again,
Great.
just having this branch of just, starting to open up, I think we're going to find that once we start doing things, like things are going to start where people are going to be planning more events. Once they know that hall is open and ready, I think the calls are going to start coming in very quickly. So we've got to be really on the ball with all this, which makes us happy because this is what we've been working so hard for the past, 2-3 years, right? So way to go to the council. Awesome job, guys. So I guess from there, thanks, Melissa, too, getting in touch with Sarah Lynn. That's awesome. So next would be discussion on engaging community.
I wanted to bring this up, and I'm going to be quick because it's after 7 o'clock. One thing I found when I was doing the flags, and I did door-to-door flags, so I met a lot of people. 90% of them had no idea we were doing this.
Wow.
A few of them said, oh, I heard something about that, but I wasn't sure what it was. We got to find a better way to engage the community besides Facebook. I mean, the Montague Township page has 879 people on it. That's half our population, but, well, half of the household. I don't know if all those people actually come to Montague or live in Montague, and I don't know how many people read it. I know a lot of older people don't even do Facebook. I know some people don't even have computers. We've got to find a better way to get our plans out. Get our plans out there. And I'm looking for ideas more than anything else. I've come up with a few, something like a quarterly newsletter. I know it's expensive, but maybe we can take part of the cost off by getting advertisers on the newsletter, like local farmers, local producers, buying a little spot, because it's going to go to every household in Montague. I also thought maybe we could look at renting an outdoor sign at the hall to put things that are happening there. I know that the Forget Me Not Club has one, something similar to that. If we can get one on our side with what we're doing there, that might work. Email subscriptions, asking everybody if they want to know what's going on, give us their email, and we will do a monthly email to everybody on that list of what's going on. We have to find a better way to let people know and to communicate with them. And I'm not sure what that is.
I like the signboard.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Oh, Karen was for, you can bring up real quick. Go ahead, Karen, if it's a.
So I'll go for the senior people. And I mean, a couple of the things are you do your article and submit it to the paper for free. And then the other one is like Lake 88 or whatever took over there, because they do that Saturday morning broadcast that a lot of the seniors still listen to. So there's a couple of avenues to get to that age group type thing. But I mean, there are still a lot of others in the community that some other ideas are great, but those are two free avenues that we could use.
And I did use the 88.1 for the Canada Day flag. I
heard it.
Angie Pacey. I moved on that. I didn't get in touch with 92.3. I tried, and I didn't get in touch with Lanark Hometown News or something. I think it was that I tried because Maggie, I told you that I tried to get in touch with them. Yeah, totally agree. Other than those two avenues, yeah, we're gonna have to reach out to the paper. Certain ones definitely to try and do more advertising for that.
I don't know how many people go to the township page. Maybe a section right on the front page just dealing with the rec committee might be an option. The Montague page is a closed group, so you've got to join it. And like I said, I don't know how many people that are actually in it live here. The township page, it's getting more popular, I think. But again, it doesn't have the number of people that we need to let know what's going on.
Yeah. Jeff?
I mean, that's the hardest part about getting communication out. And I mean, I know I've beat my head against the wall since even being on council, trying to figure out how do we get the word out more. I mean, one of the things we have started to as well at the township too as well is an e-newsletter, and we're trying to get people's emails, and we've asked for that too as well. And there's a sign up on our page for it. It's the hardest. It is the hardest part. An e-newsletter is one of to the email is like one of the best avenues, because if you don't do Facebook, you don't do Snapchat, you don't do Twitter, and I mean, and I think maybe Jim can attest to that, but he does have an email. So I mean, and I think and that's, I mean, that is a major source of how do we collect even more emails, and if we can blast that out there even more to even to our different sites, like even the Montague Talks one and everything else, saying sign up to the e-newsletter, because then we have that data and that information, and then even as us as the recreation group, we can use that list to help get information out too as well. But I think the newsletter, the e-newsletter, the email is your biggest way of getting your message to the most amount of people. But we just got to get more emails. So I once again encouraging everybody to let people know to sign up for the email thing, because that would be the number one. I would garden to guess that almost 95% of even people that don't even own computers have an email address in our township.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people that email goes out to?
I don't have the numbers as far as how many emails we have signed up, but that's a good question though. I like to, you know what, as a council member, I like to know that too as well, to see how much more we can kind of keep going with that too as well. So that's a very good question. I might find that out myself next. So 86, I just found out. Sorry, I just got, so that's not very good.
No, that isn't. I mean,
No.
to draw the numbers, to put their emails in, I mean, we could do some, if you put your email into the township to receive our, e-letters or whatever, we'll be holding a draw, once a month or whatever, and we get say somebody's local honey, local syrup, whatever, and just do kind of a draw so that people are encouraged to put their email in. I don't know if that would work.
That's an interesting idea, because we can we're transitioning even as a township, because I love this idea, because it's one of those sort of my where I wanted to go with it is the tax bill. The tax bill no longer needs to be mailed to you. We can email it to you. I mean, for me, and I know there's a lot of people out there that would much prefer that. What's that?
I was going to say, I'm the old-fashioned way. I still want paper when I pay my telephone bill.
Which is fine, and it's still out there. But I mean, there obviously is a big change to that. I mean, and I know you're never going to find one avenue that fits everybody, because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think email is still a still big portion of the and I think we even in our when we've done some of our questioning of people, still the number one source of a lot of people's information is that letter we send out with the tax bill.
Yeah.
And it's even though we have so many different better up-to-date avenues, but I mean it's a slow transition for that. But
and a lot of people
email.
A lot of people keep that and put it on their fridge.
Yeah, I have mine usually right around there.
I actually read it front to back.
Jim?
That's why I'm thinking maybe some kind of quarterly newsletter. But I like the email idea. Putting out some kind of email newsletter.
I just posted on Montague Township Talks to get people to register for it, because if I knew it existed and I was on the list, I didn't remember it existed. So I just posted it on Facebook to get people to sign up.
On that note, Melissa, can you link, because it's actually on our webpage, our right on our webpage. If you linked our webpage to that talk saying, click here, and that's exactly where it is. And it links you right to our webpage, and it's on our front page of our webpage saying, please sign up.
Yep, I did it.
Cool.
Awesome. So Jim,
And then are we going to have access to those emails?
I,
Or do we have to
could
have our
say
own list?
no, but on the same token, our office staff do. So we say, we want this sent out on behalf of the rec committee, then Christy would send that out for us. So it's not something that, because that's the other thing too as well, is that we don't want to say, sign up to our email because we're going to keep it exclusive, and then we're going to give it to everybody. So, but we just have to ask, like that's one of those things where Christy is our social media communications person at the office that we have, right, for our group. So if we need something emailed out for the blast, we give it to her and she'll do it, just like posting something on our Facebook page, or if we expand that too as well. So we do.
After we get all this candidate stuff over, then we can start begging people for emails to get on a list, to get newsletters. Just keep putting something on the pages every couple of days.
To keep you in the know. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry about that. Did you have your hand up?
I did.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry, I wasn't sure. I was
That's
trying to
No, that's
wait
good.
in there. Just going back a bit when we were talking and you were talking about the rec club here getting a possibly going towards a sign, rather like the Forget Me Not Club, or even electronic sign. When I was on council back then, the electronic sign we got out front was all money that we were able to get from grants. So there is grant money at times out there. And the best person probably to ask would still be the township out there, because when we were there then, they would get mail sent to them on that, where grants were available. And it's a possibility down the road that we might get a grant for it.
Well, and
And I
that might
don't
be
know,
how they
you know.
got their first sign. So, yeah.
That's how the electronic one came about on the road on Roger Stevens.
Which is
I
awesome.
was there when that was there, and we got grant money for that, which it was an expensive one, but you don't need a big one necessarily for
And I do
Rosedale
love that.
Hall.
I love that sign. The only thing is every time I drive by it, I would either get the time and the weather or like the temperature. I would always
Slow down.
Whereas
But
at least with the other one where you put the letters or whatever, when you're driving by, you can kind of get more reading done.
Yeah, they're a lot less expensive too, but it's just there is grants there. That's all.
And the other thing would be whether we could get the electricity to put up the sign, because no doubt you guys had to pay a penny for that too.
I wired that one.
So it's expensive.
I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem.
Okay, so did anybody have anything to add on that?
No.
Nope. Okay. I do like the price thing though, and I do know, well, there's quite a few local farmers that would no doubt have some honey or some syrup that we could get to get the emails in.
That's a good
But
idea.
does that constitute a lottery?
Oh boy.
No, because there's no money exchanged. You're only given their email. So it's just a
Yeah.
prize for just putting your email in. I can't see that being, because there's no money involved, right? I think that only is if there's monies involved. Correct?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know somebody will, so that's always good.
We'll hear about it.
So the last thing on our list was discussion on Meet the Farmers Market. Did anybody have the info?
So that was me.
Jessica.
Okay, sorry, Jess. They don't tell me who's got the info. I just hope and pray that they pay attention.
So
with you.
something I was thinking about was the fact that I've been living here for almost 6 years, and I don't know more than 2 farmers in the neighborhood. And I just thought it'd be really cool to have some sort of, not necessarily a farmer's market, but a Meet the Farmers Market where different farms, producers can set up a tent in an area and just mostly have information, not necessarily selling anything. And that way, you know, they get their names out there, and then customers can also figure out who's around.
And that could end up growing just from being where you meet the market to right into the full blown
Exactly.
market, which we've been wanting to do for a while. So again, yeah, it branches to the, you know, to bring the farmers, number one, forward in Montague Township, because there are quite a few, even just on Rosedale alone. I know there's like egg farmers to producing butter. I'm trying to remember what all I've seen. I've seen quite a few on my page, which is amazing. I like the idea. When do you think we would be able to, if we were to do something like that? Do we have a consistency with everybody agreeing? And when do you think we could do this?
Say probably
With
September,
starting to open up. Okay.
maybe even mid-August.
Like a plan to start from
Yeah.
there. So we're at June. Yeah, so June, July. We have July's meeting to plan and then try and go for it. Do we have a Melissa?
The only thing with trying to do it this like fall is we're going to be very restricted in terms of the number of people in the gatherings. But we could do maybe something virtual in the fall and then do like a big launch in the spring as kind of most of the like ones who do vegetables and stuff are starting to get into their season, and then do like a big huge information session in the spring when we're not restricted to, because if we're looking August, September, we're probably still looking 25, maybe 50 people max. And having to have all those COVID protocols in place. But one thing we could do is even maybe something virtual where someone goes out and they take like a picture, or they do like a video with the farmer and they kind of do like a little blurb, and then do it more virtual social media right now, and then actually do that in-person one in the spring.
So kind of similar to what the one that I can't remember the name of that does it in town, that goes around when there's a new business open up kind of idea. So somebody that would go, like one of us, somebody or whoever's comfortable or whatever, to do that kind of thing, and just kind of, with their phone, or I don't know who would film it. But I like that idea. The only thing is again, not everybody's on the web. So whereas with the other one, with our numbers being at 25, like with the flags, people kind of drove through and, it kind of just, they streamed through. Whereas if we did the same thing, spread everybody out, at a distance wise, and then, I can't see it being overloaded all at once. People stream through. I don't know. Jess?
What about something like, you know how the Merrickville Artists Guild, they have their kind of planned out route where there's a list and locations and addresses of who's participating, and then all the farmers can set, like it could be on a set date, and all the farmers have kind of like a booth set up at their driveway or whatever with information that they can offer.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
A
'Cause
really
then
good
there's
idea.
not going to be lineups, and people can kind of go at their leisure. It can be over a weekend or a day.
So
That's a
has
good idea. I
anybody
like that.
been involved or done, I think it was called the car rally, or has anybody ever heard of that years ago?
Yeah.
Where you went around and, you went to the same idea, destinations where you had a certain place where you go and kind of idea. Could we do something like that? Spot on a map. Okay, yeah, Chris, I missed the first part, Chrissy, but the second part I saw, but the spots to visit. If we did kind of like that, like, where you set it up where, first farm, blah, 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 and then through the day, people circulate through where they can stop in. They can even buy produce at that time if they so choose to. Maggie?
Why don't we start by finding out who the farmers are, where they are, and if they're interested in participating.
Okay. I did do at the top of Montague Talks, I do have a business thing that I started there for local businesses to join. There was a couple of, I think, farmers that, if I'm not mistaken, posted on that. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. But again, you had to be a member of Montague Talks to even see
to know
the
that
post.
it's there.
We should probably come up with a date first, because that might, be a reason whether or not they can commit.
Can or cannot, commit. Okay, so is there an idea of when we think we could fully commit to this? Do you want middle of August, end?
I'd say end because we need to do some research.
Yeah.
Okay. Our
Even
last
the
meeting,
September.
when is our last meeting in August? Does anybody have a calendar in front of them? See Melissa with her trusty red pen.
The 31st is the last, but you're the 4th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be the 24th of August for a Tuesday.
Unless we're booted again, and then it's the 25th.
The only thing is we're coming up to that Labor Day weekend, and I find that on that weekend you have, I'm trying to think, like there's so many things. Like you got the, is it not the Lombardy or the Perth Fair? Which one's on the Labor Day weekend?
All the
I don't
fairs
think
are
there are
canceled.
fairs.
All canceled.
Oh, are they all? So we won't have to compete then. Bonus. Do y'all want to go for the Labor Day weekend? then?
I think
Labor Day weekend would be the 4th, 5th, and 6th of September.
That's kind of too late. Do you want to go the weekend before that? That's what the 20th.
28th,
28th,
29th.
29th. I don't know if it's just like me and the people I know, but I know like lots of people who are typically away on vacation, but that's because we also take a break from skating for those 2 weeks. So everyone I know goes away those 2 weeks.
Well, I do. The pool store is also very quiet usually that last 2 weeks too. A lot of people going on vacation just before school gets back. Of course, question is are we going to be able to vacate or not?
Yeah.
Looking for direction then at this point. Do we lock something down and try to plan to make this happen the same way we did the Canada Day flag? Like we kind of flew with that. We made it happen in like record time, I swear. And we still managed to, do what we did. So we have the numbers. We just have to commit.
So I think the best thing is to ask the members here right now, how many, if things change, how many people would be away? That's like, I would be away that weekend. If things change in the next month or so, I need to get away. I've been sitting in this house for a year and a half, I think now. And we usually go away every 4 or 5 weeks for a weekend. We'll take a Friday and Monday and we take off. So, but weekends like that, I'm normally gone someplace.
So guys,
The weekend before would be fine or something like that. But if it's right on the
I'll-
holiday weekend,
I'll be looking for Jim's keys then so I can drop into the trunk and go on this vacation we're gonna go on so that I don't have, just free ride it. Sorry, I just had to say that. It just sounded good.
it's fine.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't do the long weekend. I do the weekend before.
The weekend before.
I think 28th, 29th is more feasible.
Okay.
And then
I
that
get-
way you're kind of at the time of the farmer season where the majority of their produce is out.
is out. And if things open up a bit more, I mean, there's nothing saying that they can't bring a little bit of their produce to try to market it. You know what I mean? So if we lock this down, Crystal,
I was just going to suggest that we think about maybe doing it after Thanksgiving. At that point, people have pretty much done all the traveling that they're going to do. The farmers might not be as busy because they're not growing their crops. The harvest may be finished. Maybe it's, it's kind of the time of year when people start to do the little drive around the countryside kind of activities.
would it be crazy to try both? Like to
We
do
could always take it
two
to,
intervals?
we could always take pick 2 dates, take it to the local farmers and see what one works better for them, which one they're more interested in terms of what's going
like
on
that.
in their lives. So the August 28th, 29th, and then if we're going after Thanksgiving, are you thinking the weekend after, like the 16th, 17th,
Yeah, so which day is actually Thanksgiving? I'm not sure.
the 11th?
October
11th.
11th.
Yeah, so probably the 16th, 17th. I guess then we could also see like what else is going on around on those dates in the community.
Okay.
So maybe there is going to be the Mag Artists tour around the same time. Who knows?
Okay. Jeff, did you have your hand up?
I was just gonna say, and we're thinking about doing this in the hall or outside the hall.
Probably outside.
So are we back to a farmer's market or are we doing this tour?
I like Jessica's idea of the tour.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
a tour.
Okay, okay.
a map of the township showing where each farmer is.
Yeah.
And what they do at each location.
And then that way people know where they're located.
Yeah.
We can
And
even
then there's
highlight,
something saying that if things change, say, right after that, where, our numbers open up or whatever, there's nothing saying that on October or whatever, that we don't have a farmer's market just before, because people are going to be starting to think of Christmas, right? So, whether it's just an all around, farmer's market or a market that shows all their wares, like everybody that, has, it'll still depend on their numbers, what we're able to do at that point. But that way we're not wasting that date of the October the 17th, that we can still kind of make a plan for both dates.
I'm almost wondering about the numbers restrictions, because I know that as somebody who goes and does like outdoor vendor markets and stuff, they're allowing like 100 people per area, depending on your size, to go through the market.
Okay. Crystal, you had your hand up as well. And then...
Yeah, I was just going to say, so what Val had said earlier about also focusing on producers and other kinds of makers. So it could be a combination of farmers, producers, makers, gardeners, whatever. Anybody who wanted to participate could join in.
Thank you.
we could also, once we get the list of who wants to participate, we could do a short little 3 or 4 minute video with that person and put it on the township page to sort of like pre-advertise, this is what you're going to see when you get here. And yeah, I don't think there's a lot of limits on outdoor. By then, most people are going to have had their 2 shots, hopefully. And it's not like everybody's going to show up at once. It's going to be one after the other type thing.
Yeah.
But I do like the map thing where you go and you see this person does beef, this person does vegetables, this person has dairy. I think that would go over really well.
Val?
I like all the ideas that are coming out tonight, but the Meg Artist Studio Tour, that's always been such a success, and I like that concept. So doing a map and then having the farmers organize themselves at the end of their driveway, that's a super way. And hopefully, maybe later on in the fall, maybe even November, we will be allowed to have an inside market and have like a maker's market and encourage people to come out that are doing their crafts and selling their wares to participate. By then, we will have a better idea as to who's out there and what kind of numbers we're talking about and what kind of interest, and if there is interest, and hopefully we'll be much more easily recognized for what we're doing. So
Melissa?
Just because there's been talk about like farmers and producers and makers. So are we thinking more of a farmers, like focusing on farmers, or more of a doors open where anybody who has a small business, medium-sized business in our community can get involved with it?
whole other subject.
I like both. I like, even if it was all businesses, we want to support all local businesses in our community, because we want everyone to thrive, whether it's an electrician or whatever. I guess that would have to be consensus, if everybody's on agreement. Do we want it to be just, people that farm and make their produce, or can we have it as an all-around business so that people are getting, hey, advertisement, right? Crystal?
Well, I think if you're talking about other businesses, then that's more of a trade show. And I think that's a different concept than what we're trying to look for, because we have to remember the Education and Culture Committee. So we're not the Chamber of Commerce, right? So they've got those other avenues that they can promote their businesses in that way. I think this is more about the community engagement and building the community and the rural way of life and that sort of thing. So that's just what I think.
Jim, you're just going to have to get a potato and put the electrical cord to it. The
I
old
can do
fashioned
that.
way, you know, like you need electricity. Science, the science part of it. Maggie?
And then we did speak about having a craft fair in November, a Christmas craft fair, November, December. And a lot of those people that are selling their stuff, that would fit into them a bit more bad, like differently. But if we had at the hall and we're able to get people going through there, I think that's more for them than the farmers one.
Okay. So I guess what we'll do is we'll start with the closest date, which will obviously be, I guess we'll make it like what, farmers market rally?
Don't call it a rally, because car rallies have really changed over the years for what they used to be to what they are now. And now they're not necessarily a positive community building event. So I wouldn't call it a car rally. At least
I call
my
it a tour.
generations.
Tour. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so
That's
lock it down for a name then for the event. Montague's Farmers Market Tour.
Or meet the
Farmer.
Montague's Meet the Farmer tour.
Okay, any other suggestions?
That sounds good.
Okay,
No, I like that. Meet the farmers tour.
okay. All right, so is everybody in agreement with that one?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, and lockdown date then I guess will be that 27th, 28th, that Saturday, I guess,
28th,
28th,
29th.
29th.
29th. Okay, and do we have consensus on that with everybody that's here?
I thought we were going to take that to the farmers and see, like, take that to kind of a group of farmers that we put together and ask them if October or August.
So now we have a
Which
set
was-
plan. We just have to get in touch with the farmers.
So let's start by getting in touch with the farmers and seeing if who wants to join into it and what date works better for them.
Let's get in touch.
Okay, so maybe if we can have Christy, I don't know, trying to think just with the signboard, like we're gonna have to obviously advertise for this to get them to get in touch with us over and above us reaching out to them. Not sure if she put something on the signboard, read that, like farmers get in touch with the rec committee. No, I'm trying to think. Good
No, I
ideas,
don't
guys.
like.
Anyone?
What about at least starting with putting out a post on the talks page?
Okay, start with that for sure. And can anybody think of any other way though that we can get a response from them? Jeff?
I was gonna say, if we can, once again, like the talks page, but if we can post it to the Montague page and then share it to the Montague talks page, it would just be the ideal, and we can ask.
That would be better.
And we can see, I don't see why along those lines we can't post it also on that outdoor digital sign too as well. But we should try to be cognizant to that, because Christy isn't, I'll tell you right now, like she's really gung-ho about being our like social media and like our person to get that stuff out there. She really is. So like she'll do it. And then we can share it to the other side of things, because that'll get once again into the open form, and then we can send it to the closed form, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And also getting it on the sign too as well. So we can and I think Christy who's listening is probably game for that too as well. So
Yeah, she says we can talk tomorrow if that works for you.
there you go.
So awesome.
And also by putting it on the open forum, it'll be easier to share because you can't share it from the closed forum.
Yes. Crystal?
I was just going to say, so Brandy, that that section of the township page where you do have the businesses listed, I know there's a couple farm type places or producer places that are listed. I'm sure if someone approached one or two of them directly, they would probably have a network of their own, right? Where they could connect with each other and just say, oh, I'm signing up for this thing. Do you want to do it too?
Good point.
Yeah,
because word travels through, I mean, they have their own little, where, if you have to borrow from one to the other or whatever. So yeah, they would definitely have the connections there as well. Maggie, you had your hand up as well.
I was just gonna say that they all know each other, and I think word's gonna spread. And if we get the Instagram and the Twitter going, then we could do a hashtag Meet the Farmers and get it rotating around.
Awesome. So I think we've had a really productive night. I don't know about you guys, but like I'm super excited just about what we've done and what we're, our ideas to go forward. I think this is amazing. Does anybody have anything else to add to Melissa?
Sorry, I just realized that the one I had submitted was left off the agenda. And it was the community yard sale and swap days that was brought up on Montague Township Talks.
Oh, yes. What was that date? I know there was somebody questioning or something if they could do a yard sale over there.
So it was brought up and there was talk about Rosedale Hall, but I can't find the post now.
They were asking if they could use Rosedale, the parking lot. And I believe it ended up being that there was going to be too much liability on the township side. It was something they talked about at the meeting. I know that.
Okay, Jeff?
Jeff probably knows.
I think I do, and Karen hopefully can fill in if I miss something there. The biggest part, the problem that we saw it as when we talked about it loosely at the council meeting is we don't know what the restrictions and rules would be as far as the COVID rules, and what can we what are we allowed to do, and that's the hardest part. Like, I mean, I don't want to speak for all the council, but I mean, we're open for it, but we don't know what the COVID rules are. If I miss anything, Karen, please let me know. But I think that's kind of like the consensus. Like, what can we do and not be over the people and then have a problem on our hands?
Yeah, because it was trying to keep the spacing and everything else that the health unit puts out, and who's liable for that to enforce it.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with us or the township. All they wanted to do was use the parking lot to have a community yard sale.
So that people can walk up Bauer or Bristol.
Yeah, they were asking about the parking lot at Rosedale and the parking lot at the Forget Me Not. We weren't even going to be there or be involved in any way at all. And I believe it was an insurance liability problem that came back, that you could not use the parking lot.
Because I think the way that the legislation reads is once the property owner is aware of an activity type thing, they still become liable.
Yeah.
But with reference to getting a community one, if a date got set, then it could just be, and then have a page or something created where they all list where they are and people will know to go out and go through, because we're a larger community than like Smith Falls, where you can drive through Smith Falls, no problem. But that way, at least you get something.
That's what I was going to suggest. Do something along the same lines as the tour. Just we'll have or whoever wants to do it, whether it be the rec committee or whoever's organizing it, can just make up a list of whoever wants to be involved, and there's like a sign up deadline. And then I know a lot of people are complaining about having larger items that they didn't want to have to haul, so this way they don't have to.
I like that. So what weekend was that? Do you know, Maggie? Or Melissa, did you find it?
I'm looking at it and I don't see a date on it, but that was my suggestion too, but also to tie in a swap days. So in Smith Falls, they do a swap days where you can put stuff out on your curb, and like it's the day to do it and it's highlighted in their calendar, but do the yard sale on a Saturday, the swap days on the Sunday, and everybody has to have their swap items off of their curb by Sunday night or whatever.
I like that.
And so just to basically pick a date, do that, have the calendar, because I agree that like I would never be for Rosedale. As we all know, I'm like kind of the pessimist when it comes to COVID, because I've planned a million events this year and had to cancel them and had to like go around and tell kids that they cancel them. So I'm always kind of let's plan. We're in the worst case scenario, better than rather than the best case scenario at this point, but I don't see a date on here anywhere.
Okay,
And I
Maggie?
believe if you're looking at it, Melissa, didn't somebody offer a space? They had stables or something, a large area, and if it rained, it could be moved indoors. I remember reading that on the post.
Yeah. But I think we want to avoid having something in any location. But I think if we, as the rec committee, pick a date, say, send us your house, we put together the map, and then we do the same swap days that Smith Falls has, where you're allowed to have it out over the weekend. There will be no repercussions for having large items sitting in your thing saying free. And we have the map and everybody can go from there. And it's just a way to support the community in a time where we can't really get together and do events.
Crystal?
I was just going to say, to add to what Melissa's saying, is that I think that's a good way to do it, but I don't think that the rec committee necessarily has to be involved in that beyond offering to promote the event. So the people who expressed interest on the page and they seemed like they were interested in organizing it as well, not just participating. So they could, pursue that offer of the stables or whatever, organize things, come up with their date, and then we as the rec committee and the township could just promote that event to the community. And I think that can be the extent of our involvement in that. We've got a lot of other things that we're looking at doing now. So
Yeah.
we don't want to be stretched too thin.
So I guess
But
we'll
I think it should go ahead. I just think it's a community volunteer event as opposed to a rec committee event.
I agree with that.
So they'll have to set their date and then just get back to us, and we'll try to help promote it any way we can.
Mhm.
So maybe we can make a post on the talks page stating that.
Okay. I have to rewatch this video later just for all my notes.
We have to watch promoting it though, if it's an indoor, like if they go into that indoor arena, because if they don't have the COVID protocols in place, the township can't promote it.
True.
So as long as they're not advertising the stable, and they leave that out, and just have it like, as a road, like their road event or whatever, or, if they end up doing it similar to our farmers, drive, meet the farmers drive, we could still promote it at that point. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have to watch if they do start, saying about, because if they all of a sudden decide to have the yard sale, then they also open up the barn and have it in the barn, and it, then that puts us at a liability there too. Does anybody else have anything to add? So we'll just have to wait for them to get back to us then on their date that they were looking for, and see what all their plans are, and try and promote them from the best that we can without, taking any ownership of liabilities. Okay. Did anybody else have anything to bring to the meeting tonight before we adjourn?
Oh, it's almost 8 o'clock.
I know, it's like, wow. We haven't had one of these late nights since we first started, hey guys? Okay, so get my right sheet here. So I need a mover and a seconder that the Recreation Committee confirm all of the direction as agreed at the meeting of June 23rd, 2021, and forward that direction to council for final approval. Can I get a mover? Jim? And a seconder? Maggie? And I've got that carried then. Everybody's in agreement? Okay. And what time is it? 7:55. Wow. So if I can get a firster and a seconder, that this meeting does now adjourn at 7:55. So Jessica is the mover and seconder. Melissa. Okay, so that this meeting is now adjourned at 7:55. Oh wait, our next meeting. Yeah, we did say that it was on the Tuesday, the
20,
24th. Okay, so Tuesday the 24th, 2021, and 7:56. All righty. Well, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm amazed with everything that we've come up with tonight. And if there is anything that anybody wants to add, definitely put an email out so that we can communicate. And we'll wait for more direction.